What up, y'all? It's the Black Critic Guy. I'm here at the Carmack Theater for the midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises. And there's a huge line. Everyone's like waiting to go see the movie. And I'm gonna go interview people on their expectations of what they think the film's gonna be like. Let's go.
I feel like this is going to be so explosive in every kind of way, emotionally. I feel like I'm going to leave the theater crying out of my elbows because of how epic it's going to be. You know, I've been waiting for this since I was in the womb at birth. I knew Christian Bale would do the part, you know. It was on my birth certificate.
And what do you think of Bane? You think he'll break the Batman's back?
I think that Batman's gonna die, but I think that Bane's gonna kill Batman by breaking his back. And then I think, this is what I hear, that Adam West is gonna be a cameo. I feel like Adam West at the end is gonna be Batman dying, or Christian Bale dying, or Bruce Wayne. That's how it's gonna end in a very great trilogy. You heard it first.
I want to say, first of all, I love the Batman attire. Now, what are your expectations of the film?
Anne Hathaway is Catwoman.
Woo!
I am the Bat.
You are the Bat.
We're pretty high.
Let me ask you something, Bat. Are you afraid that Bane's gonna break your back?
I am the Bat.
So you cannot be broken, huh?
Never.
You are impervious to being broken.
Rise.
I mean, the Dark Knight was like just such an epic film, and I'm expecting something really great because, I mean, I'm so excited. I was screaming the whole ride over here. I was so happy.
I think he's gonna die.
I'm hoping he won't die.
You're hoping he won't
He's an
die.
idiot.
I'm hoping some girl power will be shown, and
Also, you like Catwoman.
yeah.
I think it's gonna be amazing.
I don't want him to die.
He's gonna die.
He's gonna die? Bane's gonna break his back?
I think he's gonna break his back and die.
Well, with as awesome as the first two were, it's gotta be better.
And who's the character you're most interested to see tonight?
Alfred! I don't know why I've always found him so fascinating, but he's just so...
Kind of hoping that it'll match the level of the first two. It's Christian Bale, and he's kind of a dog.
Jordan Halleck from Jordan Says, what is your expectation for the film?
I think it's going to be a great movie. I think everybody thinks it's going to be a great movie. And even if it's not as good as The Dark Knight, it's still going to be a great movie, and I'm going to love it.
I'm excited. I haven't seen the movie theater or the movie trailer yet, so going in.
Oh, you're going in blind.
Yeah.
That's the way to do
Only
it.
way to do it, man.
That Batman is going to be in it, and he's going to be awesome, and all kinds of crazy stuff's going to happen.
Do you think Bane will break the bat?
Most likely.
Are you going to be sad about that?
Because I'm going to replace him.
I love Batman.
I'm going to replace him.
No, I want
Awesomeness.
Anne Hathaway
I'm
to
probably
be a
gonna
good
get my
Catwoman.
butt kicked, but
Because
it'll be okay.
I don't know how she's going to do, so I would like for her to be a good Catwoman.
Alright guys, now I'm about to go see The Dark Knight Rises, and here is my review of The Dark Knight Rises. What up, y'all? It's the Black Critic Guy, and I just got back from seeing the midnight showing of The Dark Knight Rises. And I gotta say, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I like the movie. Now, I'm not saying that this movie's a bad movie. It is far beyond being a bad movie. It's just, there were a lot of things that just felt out of place for me, and it didn't feel like a Christopher Nolan Batman movie. So the basic premise of The Dark Knight Rises is it takes place 8 years after the death of Harvey Dent, and pretty much Batman has gone away, and it's peacetime basically. And out comes Bane, who has this plan to destroy Gotham, and now the Batman must take up his helm and defend Gotham once again. Now, there is so much hype on this movie. After The Dark Knight ended, it was inevitable that people are going to rush to see this movie. I was so excited. The trailers looked kick-ass. Everything about this movie just radiated awesomeness. Bane looked like a badass. Anne Hathaway looked like a hot girl. Batman was at his wit's end, you know. It looked like it was preparing to be this epic of epic movies, and it turned out to be likable. Now let's start off with what worked in this movie. The acting in this movie all around was pretty good. I still love Christian Bale as Batman. He kicks a lot of ass as Batman. He's awesome. And Bruce Wayne. And they really, you know, develop his character, how he's been out of the game for 8 years. He's, you know, he's become a recluse. People don't see him a lot. His company's falling kind of because he's a recluse. And I love how it slowly builds to him getting back in the game and becoming the Batman once again. Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, my god, I loved Anne Hathaway in this movie. She radiated Catwoman the minute I saw her. She was actually my favorite in this movie. Anne Hathaway owns this role. She was seductive, she was, you know, conniving. You couldn't really trust her. You didn't know what she was gonna do, whether or not she would be, you know, on the good team or the bad team. To me, it was like she flipped a coin to figure out which team she wanted to side with. And I really liked that because that's how Selena Kyle was. She's not a bad guy, she's not a good guy, she's just in the middle, and she basically just joins the stronger team, or the team that strikes her interests. And Tom Hardy as Bane. Now, in the beginning, the voice of Bane just didn't sound menacing to me. But after, you know, listening to it a little more in the movie, I was like, wow, yeah, this guy's menacing, I'm scared. And when, oh god, when he comes out onto the scene, I was like, oh man, Batman's doomed. He's not gonna make this. I mean, he's methodical, he's powerful, he's intelligent, and he knows exactly what to do in order to bring Gotham to the ground. Every scene with Bane was a nail-biting experience because this guy is just no holds barred. He will do whatever it takes to get his goal accomplished, and it scared the crap out of me. He was a menacing character. He was almost at par with the Joker. Now, I like the Joker a little bit more because he didn't use brute strength to break the Batman. He attacked Batman's morals in order to, you know, just demoralize him and bring him down to a state where he had no other choice. In this movie, you know, he's just like, yeah, you're not messing with me. I will destroy you if you come near me. But still, Bane was a menacing character. He's an intimidating villain and probably one of the best villains of the year. The action scenes were done very well, and anytime that Batman and Bane were about to brawl were the most compelling and nail-biting scenes in the entire movie. I mean, you were literally watching the screen, you couldn't take your eyes off of it. It was so awesome, and you just want to see these two titans clash. It was kick-ass. And without giving any spoilers, the second half of the movie is where all hell broke loose and everything just elevated to this intense level of epicness and chaos. It was awesome. Now my gripes of the movie. Now keep in mind, this is my opinions on what I didn't like in the movie, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this review because everyone was going in this movie like, Christopher Nolan can't do wrong. In Nolan we trust. He's gonna make the greatest movie of all time. To me, he just made a likable movie. My first problem with the movie is actually the first half of the movie. It just didn't feel like a Christopher Nolan-esque Batman. It just felt like it was a different movie entirely. Like, they're throwing out all these lines that I'm like, that's not something I think Christopher Nolan would write. There's all these scenes that were pointless. There's these characters I just couldn't stand. I mean, they just throw in all these secondary characters that don't mean anything in the grand scheme of the plot, and I just didn't care for them. My second problem with the movie is the characters of Donald Blake and the girl named Tate. I forget what her first name is, but she's played by Marion Cotillard. I just didn't feel them. I didn't buy any of their character development. Especially on Tate, she's so wasted in this movie. Like, she had the potential to be an interesting character and actually develop a relationship with Bruce Wayne, and it just fell apart. Like, they didn't handle that development very well. And as for Donald Blake, I think I could get used to him. It's just I felt like he was a forced character and they just threw him at us. The writers just threw this character at us. Like, here's your second hero in the movie. Hey, we're gonna root for this guy. I didn't. I just didn't feel anything for the character. I'm not gonna apologize, I just don't feel anything for him. Another thing that I felt like this movie lacked was character chemistry. I felt like it was really lacking in this movie. The only good character chemistry in this movie was with Alfred and Bruce. That was the only one I actually felt. Everyone else, it felt like it needed more tweaking. First off, Batman and Catwoman, they barely really hung out in this movie. They had 3 scenes together, and all of a sudden we gotta feel attached to them. I didn't feel anything. Now, I did like the fact that they played off how Catwoman is nothing like Batman and Batman is nothing like Catwoman. They both have different moral codes. They both follow different sets of rules. They played that off perfectly. The only problem I had is I didn't feel a connection. Like, they'd be sharing a scene or having dialogue, and I'm like, man, this is really lame. This dialogue, I don't feel this dialogue. Another relationship that I didn't buy was between Bruce Wayne and that girl Tate. I didn't buy it at all. It was so forced. Like, they met each other twice, and then by the second time they see each other, they're all of a sudden Google eyes for each other. No, I didn't buy it. Now, this relationship comes off more as wasted potential. They had something going there. They could have made something out of this, but it just felt like it was wasted potential and it wasn't handled right. And that's the relationship between Donald Blake and Bruce Wayne. I mean, they could have handled that a little better, really have these two find a connection, make a bond, and I just didn't feel that in the movie. Now keep in mind, this is just my thoughts of the movie. You guys might not share the same thing. I probably will get a lot of hate for this, and you know what? I'm ready. Bring it on. I'm ready to defend myself. I didn't love it as I wanted to, I just liked it. Now it seems like I'm bashing this movie to a pulp, but I really did like the movie. I just didn't love it like I wanted to. Like, I loved The Dark Knight. I loved Batman Begins. I just like this movie because there's things in this movie that just didn't fit to me. It didn't feel like a Christopher Nolan movie. It felt like the second half was the Christopher Nolan movie and the first half of the movie was like some other guy came in and like, well, I'm gonna direct and write this part of the movie, and then Christopher Nolan, you could jump in later. I will say that it did give a good resolution to the series in general, and I did like how it ended. I mean, it gave us closure. I was satisfied with the ending. So overall, I enjoyed The Dark Knight Rises. I was very happy, very satisfied, and pleased with the ending. I thought it brought a full circle closure to the series. You know, I thought it was handled well. Just, you know, a couple of cliche lines and scenes. Some of the characters I didn't dig. The action scenes were awesome. Like I said, the second half is just full of awesomeness. You know, great acting from the three main characters of Christian Bale, Anne Hathaway, and the man playing Bane, Tom Hardy. So, great performances, great action scenes, well done movie. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's a near perfect movie. But anyway, what did you guys think of this movie? Did you really love it? Did you just like it? Did you really hate it, or you just were displeased by it? And let me know, what is your favorite Batman fight scene, like him dueling with the opponent? Comment below and let me know.
We're watching the Black Critic Guy.
You are watching the Black Critic Guy.
We're watching the Black Critic Guy. You're watching the Black Critic Guy. We're watching the Black Critic Guy.
You're watching the Black Critic Guy.
He is bridging that gap.
Bridging the gap.
Bridging the gap.
He's bridging the gap between movies and anime reviews.
He's bridging the gap between
Movies and anime.
Peace, YouTube.